Thank you. Thank you. I didn't write 2 decades in my intro, but thank you, Paul, for making that sound like an incredibly long time for practicing law. As you heard in the intro, my name's Tricia Bell. For those who I haven't met or had the opportunity to work directly with, I'm your chief legal officer here, the lawyer in the company. And I have the honor of talking to you today about our chapel theme, which is gratitude. Now, instead of jumping right into the theme, I'm going to make a quick confession. And I'm also going to waive my HIPAA rights and talk to you about an ailment that I suffer from. I've suffered from this ailment for quite a long time, and it's called control. And it surfaces a lot, all the time. You see, I don't like surprises. It may be that I don't like surprises because I was just born not liking surprises, or it could be in college. I actually went to school in Kentucky for my first year. I was not planning on going home for the weekend, but my mom called me and said, "Tricia, come home. I have a big surprise for you." So I drove the 3 hours home, got home, and my big surprise was my grandfather's funeral. Could be a reason why I don't like surprises. Well, actually, let me take that back. I like surprises, and then I don't like surprises. And because I vacillate between wanting them and not wanting them, like wanting a really special gift, but wanting to know what that special gift is, I ruin a lot of things. I ruin a lot of good plans, especially my husband's good plans. I ruin my engagement. So through a number of deceptions, I found out about it. I found out about the ring. I found out when, all of it. I ruined most Christmas presents, birthday presents. There are no surprise parties for me. My husband has said, "I'm not planning a thing for you from here on out because I will find them out. I will use my phone, right, and like look at where my husband is for Christmas shopping to know, like, I'm getting something from this store. I will find it out." Now, the intent behind all of this is not to spoil the surprise. Really, that's not my intention. But I like to be emotionally prepared for what is coming next, right? And I like to plan my response. I want to know the plan ahead. I want to understand all the next steps. And in the past, I really did feel like all my planning, all my effort, being 5 steps ahead was useful to me. And I emphasize that selfish response that I said right there, right? It was useful to me, but truly not anyone around me, right? Anyone that was trying to do something nice for me, it was not useful to them. It was primarily, really, it's a defense mechanism. It's a lack of trust. And then it leads to anxiety. So my ailment of control, it actually has a prescription. In his book, Anxious for Nothing, Finding Calm in a Chaotic World, Max Lucado writes, "The presence of anxiety is unavoidable, but the prison of anxiety is optional." The prescription, he notes, for anxiety is God. And the more grateful the heart, the less anxious the soul. And as you look at all your blessings, you will see anxiety slip and the world of worry taken off your mind, so you can use your brain space for gratitude. Now, I'm going to take a very detailed and delicate description of how I use my best efforts to turn my control and anxiety to gratitude. So my world became a little more chaotic almost exactly 1 year ago to this date. So let me take you back to October of 2023, and I have a slide, a timeline slide for you. So right around first week, second week of October, I went about my work week as I usually do, except that week I traveled to beautiful Peoria, Illinois, by car from Michigan. Oh, we love Peoria, okay, yay. And I was going to the Alliance of Healthcare Sharing Ministries annual meeting, right? That's our trade association. I drove there, I think on a Monday, meetings on Tuesday, drove home. And I had a regular Wednesday chapel in the morning. I watched live on my screen. I attended a leadership meeting Thursday morning, and then I went for a biopsy that afternoon. And by Saturday, maybe even late Friday, I was stalking my MyChart app on my phone because I can receive the results of my biopsy even before my doctor could see the results. So I'm looking at it, and then I found out through my MyChart app that my lump was malignant, and I was diagnosed with breast cancer. You can change the slide. So after doctor's visits and tests and surgery, the official diagnosis was stage 2 invasive carcinoma and some other stuff that went with that. And then the cancer had also spread to my lymph nodes. So then I had surgery in November, chemotherapy in January of this year through March, and then radiation treatments. And in all of that time, I suffered. But the strange thing about my suffering is that it wasn't a result of the cancer. I felt fine, right? I was in Peoria, I was in meetings, I was driving, I felt fine. But really, the suffering came from all of the treatments that were a result of my cancer diagnosis. Chemotherapy was really hard. So make no mistake about that. Chemotherapy was really hard. And the side effects from chemotherapy can literally bring you to your knees. There are times when I slept a lot, and then I felt like I didn't sleep at all. I planned times to cry alone, so I didn't bother my family with my stress. And then there were moments that I just cried spontaneously during movies or in the doctor's office, sometimes at work meetings. I also snuggled my kiddos a lot. And I drank milkshakes. I secretly drank milkshakes because at the time, chemotherapy took away my sense of taste. And I really couldn't taste anything, but I could taste milkshakes. And so I drank a lot of those. And then I also received lots of creature comfort gifts, things that made me feel warm and loved. I talked to my husband daily about the things that made me happy, that made us happy, and I talked to God a lot. Now, some of my conversations with God were really, really hard. I struggled a lot in my thoughts because I really didn't understand what was going on. And I knew God could do anything, but I didn't understand why he wasn't intervening in my situation at that time, right? That was my perception. And I was in pain, physically in pain, mentally in pain. And I was confused, and I was not in control, and I did not understand his plan, and I just wasn't feeling healed at that time. And as I said before, treatments for cancer can bring you to your knees, but what a good place to fight my battle with cancer. I love a good worship song. They can convey musically the right message, and the song at the right time that I needed right then was "The Battle Belongs to God." And it's exactly what I was feeling. When I fight on my knees with my hands lifted high because the battle belongs to God. So despite my confusion and my hurt, I still trusted the Lord, and I found ways to be grateful. Yes, in the midst of that, I was grateful. I kept 2 notebooks with me at all times. One is all the medical-related things, right? Diagnoses and treatments and side effects. I tracked it all. And then the other one I was calling my anti-bucket list. Now, Dawn and Rebecca, don't take that. I'm going to trademark it. So wait till we put it out there. I'm kidding. Why did I call it my anti-bucket list? Well, because right at that time, I was so focused on living, just living. And it was a list of things that right in that moment of living through my suffering, I was glad to have. You can see it there on the slides. Some samples of these things were companionship, I was so grateful to have my family, my dog. I was grateful to have work and my friends at work, you all. I was so happy to have you. I was happy to just have clothing, like something simple, like clothing that was warm, that was comfy. I loved slipper socks, right, at that time, and I wore them all through chemotherapy, and blankets, and just the softness and feeling of warmth and comfort. I was grateful for my hair, the hair that my husband would tell you every day. I would go, I don't like how it looks today, or I gotta go get it cut, or I'm not cutting it, or I'm dyeing it. Well, not dyeing it, right? I was grateful to have my hair. Now, another confession on this slide, that's not me, that's like AI me with really beautiful, beautiful hair. So I put it up there. It's more like a wish list. I was grateful for laughter, because laughter can truly be our best medicine. Sunrises and sunsets. So I didn't always sleep really well, but gosh, the plus was I got to see many beautiful, beautiful sunrises, and I loved them, and I was thankful in a sunset. Also on my list were things like forgiving, therapy, prayer, love. I was thankful for my chemotherapy and my treatments that were making me healthy, but I was also thankful for my chemotherapy for a different reason. You see, I stood on this stage many months ago and told you about my father passing away from cancer, and I was in high school when he was going through chemotherapy. And like a selfish high schooler, right, I was more kind of focused on my me things at the time and not understanding what he was going through. But the chemotherapy I went through this time gave me a chance to sit in my father's shoes and know him better. So I was thankful for that moment. I was also thankful for kindness. Now, that was my list. If you struggle to find your list, Paul provides one in Philippians chapter 4, verses 8. Finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there is any virtue, if there is praiseworthy things, meditate on those things. Now I want to go back to my list and highlight something that is pure and lovely, and this is kindness, and why I'm so grateful for small kindnesses. You see, I actually lost all my hair during chemotherapy. And at first, it was just little by little bits, and it was kind of laughable for a period of time, you know, when the kids and I would brush my hair and go like, oh, that's kind of crazy. But then it came out in chunks, just big chunks. And so I eventually shaved it all off, and I started to wear wigs. And for me, wigs brought some normalcy back to my situation and did let me hide a little bit and forget a little bit. With a wig, my diagnosis was not necessarily in my face when I looked in the mirror. However, right around the end of August, beginning of September, I stopped wearing those wigs. And while many of you did not know about my cancer journey at all, you visually saw that I changed my hair, and so many of you came up to me and complimented my new haircut. Lenny just told me yesterday morning when I walked in the door, he said, Tricia, can I tell you you look sassy? I was like, absolutely you can. You can tell me I look sassy, I love it. I had strangers do the same thing on planes, picking up my rental car, on vacations, at the grocery store, at church. People would just stop me and say, hey, your hair's really cute. And frankly, my longer blonde hair, the one that I had, you know, a hairstyle since high school, never got that kind of attention. So this felt really extraordinary, that the thing I felt so conscious about losing, the thing that hurt me visually all the time, was the thing that was drawing so much positive attention. Truly, it feels like angels on earth were here providing love when I needed it. and I'm grateful for that. My daughter, who was 15 at the time I was diagnosed, was also journaling and keeping her own notebooks. And she wrote this in her journal on October 15th of last year. We found out Friday at dinner. Normal night, we were eating Chick-fil-A. I love Chick-fil-A. And having a great time. I stayed home from the football game because I really did not feel like going. When I heard, I cried, and so did Joey. We were scared but have hopes. We watched shows and snuggled. Now I want to spend every moment with her and cherish every I love you. I know she will be okay. God has her. It will be okay. I talked about it in my church small group and cried. We prayed and cried and hugged. I'm so happy to have them. Let me show this next slide. I just want to stop in her journal entry just for this one moment and talk about community. Humans are social creatures, and we're inextricably linked to one another. A sense of community provides a person with so many benefits. According to one study published in the Family Medicine and Community Health Journal just last year, we can actually reduce symptoms of depression, anxiety, and stress with sharing support for one another in a community. This is my daughter's community. That's actually her. And we here at Medi-Share, we have a real big opportunity to bring cancer patients who are in membership together to support each other. And my hope and my continued prayer is that we truly find ways to build that community of support. Okay, now back to my daughter's journal entry. She finishes it with this. I love my mom, and she is my best friend, and I know she will live such a long life. God's got her. She is strong, and I love her. And that phrase, one phrase, really caught my attention. God's got her. You see, there's a lot of praise and gratitude in just that little phrase. When I read it, I closed my eyes, and I pictured just being on the edge of a pool, kind of teetering back and forth, and finally just letting go and falling right in. And the water is warm, and the waves that are created, they're soothing, right, and relaxing, and they just envelop you. Really, that is what my daughter knew right then at that moment, that God was with me and around me and loving me and soothing me, just like that nice warm water. And she was thankful for knowing that. So her stress was gone and her hopes were high. Now, many people understand how difficult a diagnosis like cancer is, and we can all somewhat understand what a cancer patient goes through relative to treatment, as varied as those treatments can be. What is misunderstood, though, is what is life like after cancer. And I use the word after, really, it's somewhat of a misnomer, because there's truly no after a cancer diagnosis, because you are physically and emotionally changed permanently. And I still struggle mentally with being a survivor. And the guilt I feel for surviving, and the grief for what I went through, what I put my family through. And my own fragility, right? And seeing incredibly full waiting rooms of women, all waiting for treatment, or maybe different news than what I got. And being nervous now about every mammogram I go to for the rest of my life. But I'm here, and I know God brought me through it. and will continue to respond with compassion, even when I'm vacillating between grief and thankfulness and hope. And next slide. Boy, I'd like to say that I've made absolute sense of my diagnosis, but I haven't. You don't make sense of your suffering sometimes. Nor do you need to be grateful that it's happening to you in the moment that it's happening. But just like the day after a really tough workout, and you feel sore because you really pushed yourself, but really you're sore because your muscle fibers are tearing to build new muscle, right? You have to be torn in order to grow. And I'm still sore, and I'm tender, and I'm raw. Many of us have something really that makes us feel sore or tender or have raw nerves. Yet, this suffering or breaking of you can be the making of you. And my pastor asked me on Sunday, she said, God has given you a gift. What are you making of it? And so right now, right here in this moment, what I'm making of it is gratitude. I thank all of you for what you do every day for each other and for our members. I'm a Medi-Share member, and now I'm a breast cancer survivor, and I'm so thankful for you. And given that this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I want to especially thank you, all of you, for what you do for breast cancer patients. Thank you for praying. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for smiles. Thank you for compliments. Thank you for love. Thank you for taking on our burdens as your own. And thank you for emphasizing how important it is to see your doctor, to take care of yourself, and to have those mammograms. So as we leave chapel today, I want us to try to go out of here with a grateful heart. And if you're like me, during my times of struggle, you might not have the right words, and you might not be feeling in the moment, right, that you have gratitude to express because you feel raw, or you feel sore, or you feel tired, or you feel stressed or anxious. You may only have a hallelujah. And so I asked Paul to pull the song that I listened to a lot through my cancer journey by Brandon Lake, and it's called Gratitude, because sometimes all that I could say was hallelujah. But really, that's enough. That's enough to praise the Lord. So let's listen as we walk out of here with our grateful hearts. And one more time, I just want to tell all of you thank you. Thank you.
All my words fall short. I got nothing new. How could I express all my gratitude? I could sing these songs as I often do, but every song must end, and you never do. So